When you think of Romania, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of people, the image is, well, it's complicated. It's often clouded by some pretty negative headlines. But what's the real story? Okay, let's get into it and really explore the complex reality hiding behind the stereotypes.
So take a look at this comment from Reddit. It's pretty blunt, right? But it captures a feeling that's out there, a perception of criminality that's somehow gotten stuck to the country's name.
And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Why does this perception exist, and is it even close to the whole story? We're going to peel back the layers here because the truth is way more complex and, honestly, a lot more surprising than you might think. To even begin to understand this, we have to tackle a massive misunderstanding, a case of mistaken identity, really, that fuels so much of this negative image. Okay, this is absolutely crucial. Romanian is a nationality, like being American or Canadian. Roma, on the other hand, refers to a distinct ethnic group. The names sound similar, and that causes all sorts of confusion. It means the very real struggles of the Roma people get unfairly projected onto the entire nation of Romania. And this one mix-up, it's the seed for so many of those negative stereotypes.
And you have to understand the context here. The Roma are one of the most marginalized communities in all of Europe. The U.S. State Department even confirms they face systemic discrimination, which, as you can imagine, creates these brutal cycles of poverty and social exclusion.
Just let this number sink in for a second. 80%. According to the EU Agency for Fundamental Rights, a staggering 80% of Roma people live below their country's poverty line. That's not just a statistic, It's a reflection of unbelievable hardship.
And this discrimination has absolutely devastating real-world consequences. Just look at this data from 2019. 68% of Roma youth leave school early. An incredible 63% are considered NEET, not in employment, education, or training. Now, to put that in perspective, the average for the entire EU is just 12%. This is exactly how those cycles of poverty and marginalization get passed down from one generation to the next.
All right, so if we separate those two identities, something else comes into focus, a different and frankly much darker story. There is a very real and often invisible crisis affecting vulnerable Romanian citizens.
We're talking about a highly organized criminal world, modern slavery and human trafficking networks that are systematically preying on Romanians. And just so we're all on the same page, this is what we mean by modern slavery and human trafficking. It's not some issue from history books. It is a modern crime that traps people with lies and violence, all for profit.
And the scale of this problem? It is absolutely staggering. I mean, look at this. In 2022, the UK government reported that Romanians were the most referred EU nationality into the country's modern slavery support system. This isn't some small issue. It's a massive crisis.
This exploitation takes several horrible forms. People are forced into hard labor for little or no pay, they're trapped in sexual exploitation, or they're even forced to commit crimes themselves. This is the grim reality that's actually behind a lot of the headlines that we see.
And the way they find their victims is dangerously clever. You can forget the stereotype of a stranger lurking in the shadows. Traffickers use social media, sometimes even friends and family members, to lure people in with these false promises of a better life, of well-paid jobs. They exploit people's hope for a better future.
But, and this is a really important but, this isn't just a story about victimhood. It's also a story of incredible strength and resilience from both the Romanian government and its people.
Now, check this out, because this might surprise you. This data from the Global Organized Crime Index shows that while Romania definitely has a big problem with organized crime, its score for resilience, its ability to actually fight back, is higher than its criminality score. So what does that really mean?
Well, on the ground, that resilience looks like strong cooperation with partners like the EU, tough national laws to fight trafficking, and a real push against money laundering and cybercrime. These aren't just ideas on a piece of paper. This is real action that's happening right now.
And this quote, it just perfectly captures a change that's happening in the country's mindset. There's this conscious push, especially from the younger generation, to just reject that narrative of victimhood and to actively reclaim and rewrite their own story.
And a huge part of that rewriting is happening through culture. There's this explosion of creativity, a new wave of Romanian filmmakers, artists, and musicians, and they're breaking onto the world stage, showing everyone a fresh, dynamic, and authentic vision of their country.
And as the gallery director Mihai Pop puts it, this isn't happening in a bubble. The world is really starting to pay attention. drawn in by all this new energy and creativity. This cultural boom is actively changing how the world sees Romania.
So that's the question we're left with. When you're up against these deep-seated stereotypes and the horrific reality of modern slavery, can the power of art, resilience, and a new generation's drive truly rewrite a nation's story for the whole world?